Hello everyone. In our video today, we are actually trying to get a term if we are given the sum. So how do we actually do that? Now, before we actually get to the following activity, let's first try to understand some few things. Let's suppose that I'm given the following sequence, which is T1, and then T2, and then T3, and let's give them numerical values. Suppose that it's a 3, it's a 6, and then it's a 9. Now, from previous experience, if I were to ask you to get the sum of the first two terms, how would you do that? Now, basically, if I say calculate the sum of the first two terms, I'm actually asking you to give me S2. Now, if I ask you to give me S2, I'm actually saying it's actually going to be given by 3 plus 6. Now, 3 plus 6 is actually going to be a 9. Now, this can also be written in this way as term number 1 plus term number 2. So basically, if I wanted to get S2, it's going to be given by adding the first two terms. Now, let's suppose that I say, give me sum of the first three terms. How will you get the sum of the first three terms? Now, the sum of the first three terms can be given by S3. Now, S3 can actually be given by, let's think about it, by 3 plus 6 plus 9. Now, this is actually going to be 18. But if we are to use the numerical values, it means that we have term number 1, term number 2, and term number 3. Now, let's suppose that I decide that I know what is term number 1 and term number 2. Term number 1 and term number 2 can be given as S2. If that's the case, it means that I can also write this formula as S3 can be given by, instead of 3 plus 6, it can be given as 9, which is my S2, plus 9, which is also going to give me 18. Now, with that being said, it means I can actually say that instead of writing it this way, using the numerical values, I can say that S3 can be given by term number 1 plus term number 2 plus term number 3, and then I know what is term number 1 and term number 2. My term number 1 and term number 2 can be represented by S2 plus my term number 3 in this case, which is actually going to be T3. Now, let's suppose that you wanted to get the term, which is term number 3 in this case. Now, if you were to solve here, we can take the S2 to this other side. It says that S3 minus S2 can be given as T3. Now, there seems to be something which is happening here. Let's better investigate it. It seems as if I have the sum, I want to get T. They're saying to me, if you have the sum, which is T3, can be given by S3 minus S2. Now, if we were to generalize and then get a formula that we'll use each and every time when we have a sum we want to get Tn. Now, let's look at this. So I can say that instead of putting 3 here, I can put an n. But whatever I do on the left-hand side, I also need to do it on the left-hand side. So in this case, I have 3. Now, I also have 3. So instead of 3, I'm going to put n. Here I have a 2. Now, how can I get 2? Now, I need to say it's n minus a 1. So in this case, I'm actually going to have Tn, which is actually going to be given by Sn minus Sn minus 1. So we have a formula now. Every time we want to get the general term Tn, and then we're given Sn, it seems as if the formula that I can use is as follows. It says that Tn is actually going to be given by Sn. Now let's go to our example. So you can clearly see that if we are looking for T4, what does that mean? Everywhere I see n, so there's an n here, I'm going to put a 4. There's an n, I'm going to put a 4. There's an n, I'm going to put a 4. Then it says that T number 4 should be given by S4 minus, then there's a 4 minus a 1, which is going to be S3. Now, I don't know what is my S3, I don't know what is my S4, but I can simply get it. Let's go and get it. So, everywhere there's an n, I can put, start by S4, so it's going to be S4. There's an n there, then it's 3. Instead of n, I'm actually going to put a 4 minus 2 multiplied by 4. Then type this in my calculator, I get 40. So what do I know? Instead of S40, I can put S4, I can put 40. Now we're actually going to try to get our S3. Now what does that mean now? Actually means everywhere we see n now, we are actually going to have 3 S3. Everywhere we see n, we put 3 minus 2 multiplied by 3. If I type this in my calculator, it gives me 21. Now T4 is actually, my S3 is actually going to be 21. If I were to say that term number 4 is actually going to be 40 minus 21, which is going to be a 90. Now that we've seen how to calculate the term, we can actually try to do the following activity, and that will be it for our lesson.